Hi there, Paul here from SkillsTX. I'm going to readdress this concept of evidence, and the reason behind this is really very simple. These days obviously we've got a lot of AI agents that can perform various tasks, some of them very specific of course, but none of that makes any sense unless the data that it's using is robust, reliable and accurate. And too often we see skill profiles that are out there that are basically checkbox exercises, people have clicked buttons, and we haven't really got any evidence to support it. So we've got this concept that right from the very beginning, when we're documenting our self-assessment or our skills via self-assessment, that we can start to capture evidence, not necessarily for every skill, but certainly for skills that are particularly important to the organization if this is part of recruitment. If it's not part of recruitment, same logic applies, self-assessment for employees and evidence to support where it makes sense. So I've registered for self-assessment here. Just going to click on the link and it's going to take me into a self-assessment based on a junior service desk engineer role. Okay, it's telling me straight up front that this survey is likely to stop and ask for evidence where it makes sense. So again, we haven't asked for evidence in every case, but for skills that we're particularly interested in, we want evidence. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. I'm not going to run through all these surveys because it's a demo and I just happen to know where the evidence resides. So I'm going to dive straight in. I'm going to do this one first, just go and show you a couple of the things that we built in, asking me if I've watched a tutorial. I'm going to say yes. Get started. This is a skill in the strategy and architecture. It's methods and tools, quick read of it, go and look at the guidance notes. Makes no sense, no, don't have it, so I'll just say no. Okay, that was it. One question in that category. Dive in here, get started again. I'm going to get asked for a skill, infrastructure operations, really important skill for service desk analyst. So have a quick read, yeah, I do something like that, so I'll say yes. And then it's going to take me into the various levels. Okay, so first one describes what the level is. Then I've got these four options, gives me some nuance rather than just I have it or I don't have it, because that's usually not the case. So I'm going to read that and I'm going to say, yeah, I'm competent, I've definitely done that type of work. Okay, carry on through to the next one here. Have a quick read of it. It's like, yeah, okay, I've done some of that, but I'm not yet the expert. So I'm going to select skill proficiency, and this is where the magic happens. The system has worked out what the highest one I selected was. We've defined up front whether or not we want proficiency or competency or neither of them, and it's hit one of those rules. It's giving me the description and it's asking me to provide evidence. I can type in some text, I can upload a file, I can specify a link, maybe if I've got a certificate or a badge or something like that to link to. I'm going to type in some text, so just bear with me, you don't want to watch me type. Okay, so I've typed in some text. If I had this up and running, we can also talk. So in fact I've actually got the microphone, so I could have just started recording and just explain what I believe I did in this. So I've typed it in this case, going to submit that. And what that's doing now, it's attaching that piece of evidence to that skill so that when my profile is being produced, it will have evidence attached to it. Just as importantly, for the people that have got the privilege to see my profile, they will also be able to see that evidence. So straight up front, I've got this direct connection between skills and evidence. I'll just jump through a few more and we'll come and have a look at another one in a second. Okay, so I'm just finishing this off, going to come back into relationships category, being asked now about customer service support. Going to say yes, I do that. Okay, I'm going to select proficiency. Okay, just lets me through to the next one. I'm going to select proficiency again. I'm going to go back to the previous. I'm going to select competency, and now it's asking for evidence. So what I really just demonstrated there is we've set these guidelines that says sometimes we want evidence, sometimes we don't. If you tell us you've got knowledge of a skill, well, big deal, that's nice to know. But if it's an important skill and you've said you're competent or proficient, in this case I'd set it as competent. So I'm only interested when you tell me you're really good. That's when I want the evidence. If you say you're okay, that's fine. We can live with that without the evidence. You can see very, very directed. We can build the rules in the back end that gets presented to the person doing this. I've also got a link here to guidelines on evidence. This link is very configurable, so I can link, or a client can link to the evidence descriptions that they're interested in. But we've got here, you know, what would constitute good evidence. So we're giving people really good guidance as well along the way. So I'm going to cancel out of that. I'm going to select proficiency so it doesn't ask me for evidence. I'm going to complete it. That's my survey's done. I'm going to give a star rating and some comments. So I'm getting immediate feedback from this particular user. I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to create an account and it's going to go off and run its workflow, giving me a little bit of information, telling me what's going to happen next. And we'll have a look at that very quickly, and I will leave it at that. By summarizing, that the big deal here is linking specific evidence to skills, and to be honest, much more credible than resumes and CVs, because we've got this direct connection. And then really importantly, once this is in the platform, particularly if it's an employee, that evidence can be promoted by someone in leadership, can be locked, date and timestamp, which is basically someone saying, yes, that person did do those things, it was a good result, and now I've got this additional level of evidence against the skill that has been signed off by somebody else. Okay, let's dive over into here. There we go, we've got the account created, we've got the skill profile for this person, giving me a link to the login. If I come in here, we'll just preview it. Here we go, this is the results of what I did. Here are the skills that I selected, telling me the highest levels, and it's telling me that I recorded evidence, it was self-documented, and of course in the system I'll have all of the details of what that actually is. Thanks again for your time, and hopefully that made sense. We're pretty full on that evidence is really damned important to support the skills in order that you can make really good decisions as an employee or an employer or a potential employer. Thanks again.